Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. My name is Kara Nagy-Shaddis, and I am going to be your host for Culture Night tonight. If you guys have volunteered with us before or supported us in the past, you guys may know that during a Volunteers Week of Service, we try to bring somebody from the community in to speak with our volunteers and just give them a little bit of taste of what that particular Appalachian community is like. A lot of times this is through music, sometimes it's through storytelling and history and a variety of other things. But one of our crowd favorites is always our bands. And tonight, without our volunteers able to travel to Appalachia and experience the culture firsthand, we thought we'd bring you a little bit of taste of the mountains. So tonight we are going to have 3 different bands come on and play for you guys. And I'm really excited. They're some of our absolute favorites. You'll recognize some of these faces. And just all in all, I really hope that we just have a really fun night together and just enjoy some music and be in community with one another. So we'll go ahead and get started. Our first band is actually from the Jonesboro, Tennessee area, and they are known and loved by many ASP supporters. We are, of course, going to hear from Alathea. So let's go ahead and dive in. You guys might recognize Mandy and Christy. They're big fans of ASP. They've done a lot of work with us in the past, and we're really excited to have them sharing their music with us tonight. So here's a couple songs from Alathea. I hope you enjoy.
Hi ASP friends, we miss you bunches. This is a song for y'all. It's called The Last Piece of Bread. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't eat the last piece of bread, child. Don't eat the last piece of bread. Somebody might stop by later and we want to make sure they're fed. So don't eat the last piece of bread. Share the last piece of bread, child. Share the last piece of bread. Might be a friend, it might be a stranger. Gonna love like Jesus said. And share the last piece of bread. This is how we will remember all the things that Jesus said when we break the last piece of bread. So leave the last piece of bread, child, leave the last piece of bread. Might just have a hungry neighbor and they gotta get their belly fed. So leave the last piece of bread. Don't eat the last piece of bread. Somebody might stop by later. Might be a friend, it might be a stranger. Could just have a hungry neighbor. This is how we will remember how to love like Jesus said. And share the last piece of bread. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my Lord thou hast taught me to say, it well. It is well with my soul. Hey y'all, we are having a beautiful summer here in Appalachia in ASP land, but it's not as beautiful as it usually is. When you all are here, the spirit you bring with you makes where we live and our mountains and our hearts and our friends so much more beautiful. So there's a little ache and there's a little cloud over Appalachia because we're missing you. But what we carry with us and what we have in our hearts is the memories of all the ASP summers and all of the ASPers who have come to ASP land and made it more beautiful. How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. And that's what you all do every summer when you're here. And we're missing that beauty this summer. But we carry the memory of that with us. And we look forward to hopefully next summer when it can all happen again. And our miracle of ASP can be our arms open to you and your arms open to us again. We're holding on to that hope. Soon, soon, soon. But in the meantime, we carry with us the memory of you all being here in the ASP land. And our prayer is that you are carrying the memories of the families whose lives and homes you've touched and changed. That you're carrying that memory with you everywhere you go. And I know that everywhere you go, you're making more beautiful because of that spirit that you carry with you. This is I Still Carry You. Little boy running down the road, gonna dig for worms and skip some stones, praying to catch a fish to eat. God, let it feed his family. They sleep in a room together, mom and dad and his brother, padded mats on the floor, cold air creeps in by the door. Mom and dad provide all the love he needs, not a pillow where he can dream. That maybe angels could fix up his house. They got him a bed, a pillow, and now he can't forget. I carry you with me now that you're gone. I still carry you. The love that you gave me turned things around. It was enough to break through. A van pulls in from the north, a dozen kids with smiles and hammers. Wanna fix a house, change somebody's world, make it warmer, safer and drier. All she knew is she had something to give to the broken house, but it changed her too. Watching that boy, his heart so big, when he believed the mountains moved. Her mom and dad provide all the love she needs. She's got a pillow where she can dream. Now being an angel fixed up his house. She got him a bed, a pillow, and now she can't forget. I carry you with me now that I'm gone. I still carry you. that you gave me turned things around. It was enough to break. We've seen what love can do. I still carry you. We've seen what love can do. I still carry you. I carry you what love can do. Now that I'm gone, I still carry you. The ways that you changed me, turn things around. I was enough to break through.
Thank you so much, ladies. It's so wonderful to hear from you guys, as always. If you guys like Alathea and want to hear some more from them, you can actually find their music in a lot of different places. It's always available for purchase on their website, which is alathea.com, as well as it's available on iTunes and for streaming on Amazon, Apple Music, and Spotify. So you can follow along with their music in all those different places. We hope you'll continue to explore some of their songs. They have some really great stuff. And make sure you follow them on Facebook and Instagram. They're at Alathea Music. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Up next, we're going to head over to West Virginia to Greenbrier County, where we're going to hear from John Wyatt. Many of you guys know John Wyatt. He calls himself the Appalachian. He's a storyteller and a musician, and we are very thankful to have heard from him for years and years and years in the past. So he's got a couple songs and always a couple good stories for us. So John, why don't you take it away?
Hello out there in ASP land. This is John Wyatt, the Appalachian. And some of you may remember me. I've done Culture Night with ASP for about 17 or 18 years. Started in Fayette County, West Virginia. And since that time, I've kind of traveled around a lot, been in a lot of the counties in West Virginia, whether Fayette and Greenbrier and Nicholas and Summers and other places. Down in Johnson City or Jonesville and or Brenton, or some of the other places that ASP has permanent sites at, or did have permanent sites. But Aaron called me and asked me if maybe I would do part of a video just to maybe send out to some of you guys. Now, some of you may remember this face. It's a hard face to forget, I'll admit that. But and some of you, maybe we've never met or you've never seen me, haven't missed a lot. If you missed seeing me, you haven't missed a lot. If you've missed working and volunteering or doing some projects with ASP, with Appalachian Service Projects, you missed a lot then, because it is such a wonderful organization, and the work they do and the people who do the work, I don't know where they find all these wonderful people to work the sites and work the summer programs and all that. It's just beyond me. But nonetheless, here I am, John Wyatt, the Appalachian. And I'm going to talk a little bit about growing up in Appalachia today, sing a couple songs, and maybe be a little entertaining. Hopefully I'll be entertaining. I've got a gal that works for me. She says smile every now and then, John. So I'm going to smile today, or try to smile. But I was born and raised in Appalachia, deep in the heart of West Virginia. And one of my favorite writers, he wrote a book one time called In the Heart of Appalachia, Deep in the Heart of Appalachia. And he was from West Virginia. But one of the things that stands out in my mind was when I was 12 years old, just 12 years old, wasn't quite a teenager yet. And I came in one evening, and as we always did, we had supper around the supper table at our house. There was 5 children, my mom and dad, and usually 2 or 3 cousins or somebody at supper with us almost every day. We would clean up the dishes from supper, and usually the supper was brown beans and cornbread and fried potatoes. And if it wasn't brown beans and cornbread and fried potatoes, it was fried potatoes and cornbread and brown beans, or vice versa. But anyways, we would clean up, and then we'd go into the living room, what we call the living room. It was just a little added place on our house. It was one of those small Jenny Lynn houses that we lived in. But it was a good place to grow up. It really was. But I remember sitting there watching the evening news. We watched the local news, and somebody's cow got out, or Aunt so-and-so was in Cleveland because her daughter was having a baby, or just that local stuff. But then the national news came on, and it showed John F. Kennedy coming to West Virginia, candidating in the primary election. This was in May of 1960. And I'll be honest with you, it really didn't bother me who won, whether it was a Republican or a Democrat or whoever. But we were sitting there watching the news, and when they brought John F. Kennedy into Charleston Airport, they got off the plane and went down through the coal fields, down through Logan, Boone, Mingo counties, and the news media followed them. And all along this route that they took was these children who looked just like me. They had on little bib overalls and no shirt, and they were tow-headed, and their hair sticking up everywhere. Wish I had hair to stick up everywhere today, and barefooted. And I remember the news announcer saying this: "A poor, poverty-stricken youth of Appalachia with no hope for the present and no hope for the future." And I turned to my dad. I'd never heard the word poverty. And I said, "Dad, what does poverty mean?" And I'm not sure whether my dad was too embarrassed to tell me, or maybe he didn't know himself. I don't know. But he told me to look it up the next day when I went to school. So the next day I looked it up, and I saw what poverty meant, and I thought, my goodness, is that what the rest of the world think about us here in Appalachia? Poor, poverty-stricken people, especially the youth, with no hope for the present and no hope for the future. And from that moment on, at 12 years old, my greatest desire, my number one purpose in life was to leave Appalachia, assimilate into the rest of the world, go to the cities and acclimate into urban life or whatever. And for the next 9 years, that's what I did. And I worked, I was in the military for a while. I worked in Cleveland, I worked in Philadelphia, I worked in D.C., I worked in New York City for a while, and just all around Chicago and Detroit. And I was sitting in Cleveland, Ohio, in the fall of the year, election time again, and I was sitting outside an old apartment building, and out of the windows of that apartment building came all this music from Appalachia. The bluegrass music and the banjo and the mandolin and all of that. The country music, whether it was Hank Williams or whoever the current fad was for country music. And old-time music with the fiddle. And man, as I listened to that, I wondered, what in the world am I doing in Cleveland, Ohio, when I can be back in West Virginia? And that's where this song comes from. It's a song of the mountain, so much more than words and melody. It's a song of the mountains, echoes of a people proud and free. Music from the very soul, sung from the heart by young and old. Those West Virginia hills are calling me. Well, I just can't take it anymore. The asphalt stretches door to door. City life, it's not the life for me. And I know I've been away too long. I hear the voices of their song. With West Virginia hills are calling me. It's a song a song of the mountains, echoes of a people proud and free. Music from the very soul, sung from the heart by young and old. Those West Virginia hills are calling me. Always free, those voices keep reminding me, matters not how far away we roam. So I'm gonna pack my grip today, going back without delay to those mountains and those hills I call home. It's a song of the mountains, so much more than words and melody. It's a song of the mountains, echoes of a people proud and free. Music from the very soul, sung from the heart by young and old. Those West Virginia hills are calling me. All those hills, beautiful hills, yes, those West Virginia hills are calling me. Well, that's where that song came from that experience I had in Cleveland. I packed up everything that day, headed back Route 21 south, and came back to West Virginia, and I've been here basically ever since. Now, I've traveled around. I'm a world traveler to some degree, but I've never found a place like Appalachia. This place that we call Appalachia is more than just a geographical place on the map. It's something special. And especially to those of us who grew up here, who are real Appalachians, as I call them, who are native Appalachians. It just holds something wonderful for us. It's kind of spellbinding. But it's not just for us. I see it on the faces of people who come. The volunteers who come here to work maybe from Massachusetts, like John F. Kennedy was from. And by the way, the people of West Virginia love JFK. He came here wondering how he would fare in a state that was mostly Protestant. And when he came here, the people just loved him, and he loved West Virginia. I really believe that if he had lived and was able to finish out his presidency, that West Virginia was being in a lot better shape than what we have been in the last 50 years. And some of the programs like Appalachian Regional Commission and other programs were initially started by him, even though he was assassinated before they really made an impact. But you know somebody who is making an impact on our state, and that is Appalachian Service Project. And I've never been more proud to work with an organization than what I am with them. They come in, you that volunteer and come here, sometimes, I'm sure that sometimes you think that you're just coming for a week of summer camp or whatever, and coming into a remote or a rural area of West Virginia or Kentucky or Tennessee or somewhere. But you're doing so much more than just hammering a nail or sawing a board or putting up a piece of sheetrock. You're doing something for people who sometimes get locked into this hopeless place that poverty brings people to. Poverty is an ugly, ugly menace to our society. And sometimes poverty in Appalachia has been different than poverty elsewhere. Here it's been isolated and sometimes unseen. John F. Kennedy began to shine a light on the need that is here in Appalachia. And I'm so glad that he did. But also, one of the things that ASP has done through the years, and one of their mottos is that they accept people right where they are, just the way they are. And so many volunteer groups who come into Appalachia and come into the mountains, and they're wonderful groups, whether it's AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, and all the different ones who've come through the years, and thank the Lord for all of them. But somehow Appalachian Service Project seems to meet a need that is sometimes deeper and more vital to the people here than just finding a job or bringing in infrastructure. They bring something much more. They bring a spirit. They bring a vibrancy with them. The young people, the adults, volunteers, and those who come to help, they do something that only human contact can accomplish. And human contact without judgmental judging of any kind. And so I think maybe that's why I like Appalachian Service Project as well as I do. Here is another little song. Appalachia is changing. We've changed so much in the last 50 years. From the time I heard that in 1960, and I heard that news broadcast and John F. Kennedy going down through the coal fields, it's been 60 years. It tells you I'm getting older, doesn't it? Wow. But things have changed, and some for good and some not so good. But our culture itself, when I was a boy, that was a winder over there. A winder, not a window. When I was a boy, this was a chair that I was sitting on and not a chair. And our way of talking and our way of speaking, our culture as a people has changed drastically in 60 years. And some of that's for good and some of it's for bad. Now, I went out and put tires on my car yesterday. Or tires on my automobile, whichever way you want to say it, but it's still the same thing. And I love this place called Appalachia. I really do. Appalachia, it's changing, its people are too. The old ways are passing, we're embracing the new. Let the mountain winds blow, and the mountain winds blow, and the mountain winds blow. Yes, the mountains are different, even they cannot last. Some things remain like a door to the past, and the mountain winds blow. Many things have changed in Appalachia, and thank goodness that some of those things have changed that were terrible. The coal camps and coal camp living, in some of them. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the coal camps weren't so bad at all, but the majority of them were terrible living conditions, and it was a terrible place working in the coal mines. Hundreds of thousands of men lost their lives in the coal mines, and there was very little help for them to get any kind of help for black lung, for all the injuries that took place. And thank goodness that some of those things have changed. But there are other things. The music of the mountains. Oh, don't you just love to hear a fiddle playing or a banjo strumming? There's just something about it. From mother to father, from father to son, we pass on the mantle to those who come, and the mountain winds blow, and the mountain winds blow, and the mountain winds blow. So let's play our music, let the hills ring the song, tell stories and dance while the ages roll on, and the mountain winds blow. I am a West Virginia storyteller. That's one of my things that I do, is tell stories. I was up in Pocahontas County several years ago, and while I was up there, I ran into this mysterious entity called the Appalachian. He was just a mystical entity that came in off the river one hot spring night. And he dubbed me to be the Appalachian. And when he did, something else happened within my spirit, I guess you would say. But I saw things maybe as they truly are in Appalachia. Some things have changed, some things have remained the same, but Appalachia is still the same. The people are the same. A wonderful group, a wonderful, magnificent group of people who are loving and kind and compassionate, who have a fierce devotion to God and to their families. That's the Appalachian I'm talking about. There are other parts of Appalachia that, just like there is in the inner cities, there's if you talk about Cleveland, or you talk about Philadelphia, or you talk about Baltimore, or you talk about Boston, or you talk about Charlotte, there are factions within those cities that is not indicative of what those cities are and who they are. And likewise in Appalachia. And today, as I look at Appalachia, I see the changes that are taking place. But I also feel that mountain wind blowing. And we're maybe changing, and perhaps we're remaining the same more than ever. I was walking down an old dirt road when I came back from Cleveland, walking down to the farm where I grew up at. And it was, what it was going home. I was walking down that dirt road going home, but I was going home in more ways than just one. I look forward to next summer when the volunteers can come back into our neck of the woods here in Appalachia. I look forward to seeing some of you that I haven't seen for a year or two or three, of making that connection again. I've got so many friends that I've made. So many of you are lifelong friends just because of what Appalachian Service Projects and their organization has done. I don't think in all this nation, of all the different organizations that come and address poverty and address needs in places like Appalachia or other places throughout our country and around the world, I don't think anyone has touched people the way that ASP has touched people. And you never know what's going to touch people. It's a smile, it's a hug, it's a handshake, or it's a dirt road like this song. When I walked back down that dirt road, I didn't see my home place, I didn't see my mom and dad, I didn't see my friends, but just seeing that dirt road reminded me that I was home again. Walking down a dirt road on my way back home, looking for a place I can call my own. Spent too many years trying to find my way, and I'm taking this dirt road home today. Taking this dirt road home. Nothing in my hands but this old man Joe, and it don't really care which way I go. Mountains, they are calling with their siren song, and I'm taking This is John Wyatt, the Appalachian. Boy, I miss you guys, all of you out there. Everyone. If I go to naming names, I'm going to miss someone. I miss every one of you. I've got an old guitar. Not an old guitar, it's a new guitar. It's a really new guitar, pretty new. And 2 weeks after the flood that took place here in Raynell 4 years ago, we're getting ready to celebrate that in 2 more weeks. There was a man. First name was Gary, and I keep calling him Gary Susky, but that's not his name. He was from Hartford, Connecticut. So if you hear this, Gary, I loved that guitar then. I still love it. I love you, man, for the flood took away all my instruments and my guitars. And I remember after doing the culture night that night, I borrowed a couple instruments from someone there, and you came out from behind the curtain and handed me that beautiful maple-backed guitar, and you said, "Here, this is yours." And I was just flabbergasted. But that's Appalachian Service Project for you. That's the spirit that they all have. It's what mine is yours, and they're not. I can't explain it. Maybe that guitar explains it much better than what I could. But I thank you for that. A Taylor guitar. If some of you know, Taylors don't come. They're not easily purchased. They cost a little money, but it's not the money, Gary. It was the thought. Thank you guys again. Hope to see you soon. This is John Wyatt, the Appalachian. I'm going to put a smile on my face. Glad to see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, John, as always, for lending your gifts and talents to ASP. John Wyatt, the Appalachian, he's a storyteller and musician from Greenbrier County, West Virginia, which is where he lives, but he actually plays throughout the entire state of West Virginia. If you want to hear some more of John Wyatt and some of his other songs and some other things he has going on, be sure to follow him on Facebook. It's facebook.com/John Wyatt, the Appalachian. Thank you so much, John, again. And last but very certainly not least, we're going to head back into Tennessee, over into Johnson County, Tennessee. In Johnson County, there's a band called the Slabtown Ramblers, and they have played for some culture nights in the past, and they're so excited to lend their talents to our show tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Laura, who is out with our Johnson County band, and take it away, you guys.
guys. I don't know.
All right.
What
Ready?
I remember standing by Daddy's bedside as his tears fell on his face. As the held each other's hands by
I knew part of it, but I had to find
Very
it.
good.
I would say, yeah, actually.
That was so wonderful. Thank you again to the Slabtown Ramblers, all the way out from Johnson County, Tennessee. They are not online yet to listen, so make sure you give them some love in the comments and thank them for joining us tonight. If you ever want to hear this band live, just drive on down to Johnson County, Tennessee. They play often locally on the Tennessee-North Carolina state line. Well, that is what we have for you guys tonight. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in to our Culture Night, to take a little break and join together in community to listen to some amazing music. A big shout out to Alathea, John Wyatt the Appalachian, and the Slabtown Ramblers for joining us tonight, playing your music and sharing your gifts and talents with us. We're really appreciative for you guys. With that, we're going to sign off, but thank you guys again for joining us, and we will see you all soon. Have a great night.